Welcome everybody to this seminar run by the Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce. My name is Hans Jakob Bonnier and I am the chairman of the chamber. Today's seminar is going to be about logistics and transport. Adapt or fall behind. That's to be on the train and not miss it. That's what it's all about. And I would like to say a few words about this subject, which is a very old historic subject. In our logotype, we have a cog, this little ship here. It's a cog which was the means for trade and transportation during over the Baltic Sea during 500 years, from 1100 till 1600. This was the leading logistic and transport company in the Baltics. Very rich, very famous, and very important for trade between Poland and Sweden, I would say. There were a few others, like Estonia, like Russia, like a few others around the Baltic Sea, but this was really what made our basic possibilities to grow. And as this is a very old tradition, I think this seminar is focusing on the right trade thing, namely logistic and transport. Well, we will hear, I hope, what happens in these trades and for the future. It will be very interesting. I'm going to listen to every word. And then I want to introduce Malgorzata, who is well known to all in the trade. So I'll give you this.
Welcome everybody. My name is Małgorzata Musińska and I'm really honored to be here. I'm also the member of the board of directors of Swedish-Polish Chamber, but on the daily basis I'm the global category manager. I'm working in Chemica Group, and this is Polish chemical producer present in Europe, but also since, I would say, 1 year in United States. And I'm responsible for procurement of logistics and transport services. And today we will talk about logistics and transport, but very shortly I will tell you how the agenda will look like, because I would like to welcome you here in the conference room, but also we have fantastic audience online. So please stay with us 2 hours and a half. And our agenda is divided into 2 parts: presentations. We will have 6 very interesting presentations, and I think the 6th will be a surprise for you. Please stay with us. And then we will skip to panel discussion, which I will moderate for you. And of course, I even know that, we are here between Polish and Swedish people, maybe other nationalities, I don't know, who are also listening to us online. But I want to say that today we are in Stockholm, and I noted even 5 sentences that will be like hooks to our meeting, because I know that it's very important to keep the attention, especially for audience online. Today's supply chains face not only complexity, but volatility. And that's why we need to talk. From carbon tracking to last mile innovation, logistics is where resilience begins, another very important word. We meet to share, challenge, and co-create smarter solutions across borders and actors. And today, for the first time, I would say, we will have also representatives from other sectors here within the logistics meeting. And because logistics is collaboration, so we will talk today and discuss many issues. But let's skip to the presentation. The first presentation will be about ports. Ports are gates of the trade, for sure. How do ports stay compliant is in this unpredictable world? We have with us Björn Boström, who will advise us about this. Björn is Managing Director of Ystad Port. Welcome, Björn.
Thank you very much, and very happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. Well, to comply in an uncertain world. Well, this is Port of Ystad. Port of Ystad is situated on the most southern coast of Sweden, more or less on the main square of the city. And as you can see on the photo, the main business is ferries connecting Sweden with Swedish-Polish in Poland, what has been done since the mid-1960s. One of the ferries even carries train wagons, a very important part of the cooperation between our countries, both regarding daily business as well as linking two NATO countries together. For the service, the port is equipped with several ferry berths, quays, terminals, stowing equipment, etc. After an investment of approximately 100 million euros recently, 5 years ago, vessels up to 240 meters now can call the port, making the port prepared for the future. Port of Ystad is, as you can see, one of Sweden's most extensive ports. It's a lifeline for passengers to the island of Bornholm and the important connection between Sweden and Poland, both for passengers and for cargo. Ferry business is the most important segment of the port business, but essential is also conventional vessels with bulk as well as cruise ships and the possibility to establish business with the need of near port location. Now, this is how the port looks after our latest investment, and as you can see, with a range of opportunities for development. The EU transport network, the TNT, is the artery of logistics in Europe. The ferry line between Ystad and Swedish-Polish is one of the important routes. Let's see, well, there it is. For ensuring free trade in peace as well as in troubled times. Someone once said, it is hard to predict, especially about the future. Now, this is an old truth, and everyone are aware of that fact. Nevertheless, every day we do just that, predict. It is important to ensure readiness for any potential situation, whether it's personal, familial, or professional, to remain adequately prepared for unforeseen events, regardless of its positive or negative consequences. The word preparedness has got a new meaning since the aggression against Ukraine commenced. Again, we talk of protection, the Cold War, how to cope or fall behind. But this is not only because of the war going on in Europe. There is another war too, the war on tariffs, mainly generated by the USA. And everything affects us in our daily life. The prices for necessities are rising, the supply is lower, we have and have had inflation, the margin for transports and logistics is lower. Upon all of this, the environmental issues keep being important for us to have a decent future. The map is literally being redrawn in many aspects, both physically as well as mentally. Besides changes in the surrounding world, new laws and regulations changes the conditions we work under. There are so many things adding to our daily logistic life as war, ETS for ships, and from 2027 also for lorries, the Fit for 55 package, and much more. We must be very skilled at reading legal documents and to interpret the laws and legislations correctly. Some time ago, there were much talk of bringing the cargo close to the end receiver. Now, this should save outlet of CO2 as well as tear and wear on the roads. The ETS so far strives to make it more efficient and cheaper to sail shorter routes, saving costs. But what will happen in 2027 when the ETS also will apply for road traffic? The Fit for 55 package will very soon, within just 4 years, be implemented. Amongst a lot of things, OPS, that is onshore power supply, what we have had in our port since 2012, will be mandatory in ports. There are no standards for this. The connection on the ferries can be placed in many different ways, making it hard and expensive for ports to comply. And the trust between us is an important issue. In these times, it's easy to doubt, easy to be skeptical, and this makes it difficult to do business. Now, how to comply when the world around us changes all the time? Well, the very simple answer is, you can't. But then again, we must. Collaboration has never before been such an important issue. Together, we can try to find the necessary solutions. If we fail, we do it together. More important, if we succeed, we do it together. Sharing problems and issues as well as solutions develops our businesses, bringing us forward, hopefully, with prosperity. Now, together we also can make some kind of foresight by sharing information from various parts of the business, helping each other to make the progress. There is a huge responsibility for authorities, both national and international. New rules and regulations must be clearly stated in advance for all of us to comply. We can do a lot of things if we, well beforehand, just know what is expected from us. And I believe that the clarity really is the key word for the future. And finally, we must trust each other. Trust that we share correct information in due time, and that we always back each other up as good partners do. Then we might be able to comply in this uncertain world we live in. For our sake, the port of Ystad. This has been the red line during many, many years in collaboration with our Polish ferry operators, Unity Line, Euro-Africa Shipping Lines and Pole Ferries, to whom I am very grateful for supporting us in many, many ways. And everything boils down to keeping the promises that you actually have made. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Björn. It was really interesting and I would say touching. This is really important that we should trust and collaborate. And also you've mentioned that we should predict and focus on some tools, perhaps, because we also have to do that. And the next, thank you, Björn, and the next presentation will be about the future. But I think also this is happening. Carbon under control. Marcin Kubica will bring a case study on tracking impact and driving change. Marcin is business unit lead from Clouds on Mars. Marcin, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And we want to talk about having carbon under control. So we will talk about keeping carbon under control, and this is something that sits at the intersection of leadership, technology, and sustainability. And when we talk about sustainability, we often talk about ambitions. But ambition alone does not move the needle, we may say. Companies are setting bold sustainability ambitions, and in fact, 64% of largest European companies have full net zero ambitions. And we may say that that's an encouraging number. But there is a challenge. And challenge is that only 21% are actually on track to fulfill their ambitions by 2050. Now, the question is why? And we've just heard in the previous presentation that we live in the world that is really uncertain, and indeed, geopolitical challenges are part of the problem. There are also some economic challenges, but there is also something else. And it's often lack of systems that allow companies to plan, to measure, and to follow up with discipline. Perhaps you know the saying, you get what you measure, or you get what you follow up on. And this is indeed the key. Even the strongest sustainability teams and the most committed leaders may find it very difficult to achieve their ambitions. Now imagine a use case. Imagine a multinational consumer goods company that has several iconic brands, and those brands span across different product lines, and those brands are present in most of the countries around the world. And if you imagine such a company trying to make improvements in sustainability, is something challenging. It has to be part of the product design, it has to be part of the manufacturing processes, but especially it has to be part of the transportation and logistics. And in such case, it is truly challenging to make improvements in a systematic way. What if sustainability improvement can be managed like any other processes in a company, like finance, like quality, like performance, planned, measured, and followed up, systematically based on data? This global consumer goods company that I have in mind is Procter & Gamble, and those needs that I've just mentioned sit at the foundation of something that we call sustainability management system for transportation and also other footprints. And this desire to use the Deming cycle, plan, do, check, and act, and again, do this again, this is something that was at the heart of SMS. That was the cornerstone of SMS, Sustainability Management System. It brings everything together into one system, from defining strategies to building a glide path and tracking progress in achieving sustainability performance and ambitions. Would you like to see a glimpse of this tool? I have it for you today. So it begins with the glide path, and that's how we call the structured trajectory toward achieving those sustainability ambitions. And you can see this trajectory here. That's what we call glide path, and it spans through several years. But that's not all. This glide path creates a transparent and realistic plan, and it is split into different strategies, and it can be viewed from different perspectives. So this helps teams observe their plans and then check whether they are meeting those plans or not. With glide path, another component comes into play. So leaders and companies, they want to see associated costs. Whenever you implement certain strategy, there may be some cost associated with it. For example, going electric or capturing carbon. But there may be some savings, and if you strive to have better utilization of your assets, you may have savings as well. And again, you can see this spanning throughout the years, and you can see this by strategies. And again, you can see this from various perspectives. You can see it for every product line, every business unit, or every market where you are present. And then comes the sign-off process. That's really important, because we want each market, in each transportation leader, each region be fully aligned with the ambitions. This creates awareness, and it helps team to make sure that people at various levels are ready to follow the plans that company makes. And last but not least, you need to see actual data. And in the SMS, we have actual data coming from connected systems, from integrated systems, and leaders can compare their actuals with their ambitions. So that's the part of the follow-up. So everything is structured. Everyone operates using the same numbers, and perhaps that's the most important part. This is not simply another reporting tool. We call it management system that keeps organization aligned. Every business unit, every market, they work on the same numbers and they work on the same plans. So now think about reaching this net zero ambition. This is not only about carbon generated by logistics and transportation. We know that there are other elements involved, like manufacturing plants or offices, and this is part of the SMS as well. Procter & Gamble asked us to include both transportation and manufacturing processes into one system and plan their ambitions and make it available to the team. And I'm happy to announce that Clouds on Mars, so the company I work for, is partnering with Procter & Gamble, and we are planning to help Procter & Gamble in releasing their intellectual property to other companies, globally. The day of the IP release is not yet known, but it is coming. And we are happy to talk about it in details during the networking session. And now I would like to hand over to Iza Urban from Procter & Gamble. Iza is the product owner of SMS, and I've been honored to work with Iza for the last 2 years on SMS. And now I would like to ask Iza to share her perspective on SMS.
Thank you, Marcin. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Marcin, for inviting me to this event. My name is Izabela Urban. I am product manager at Procter & Gamble Global Business Services IT team. I support various climate, water, and transportation solutions, driving sustainability. It's actually my second time in Stockholm professionally. First, I came here almost 2 decades ago to train P&G media team on some reporting capabilities back then. At P&G, we are committed to environmental sustainability across our operations, supply chain, brands. Our purpose is to improve lives now and for generations to come. We innovate to solve everyday problems with products that are superior, and we believe that driving market growth sustainability is very important. To support our sustainability ambitions, we established Sustainability Management Program. And Sustainability Management System is the core digital capability that drives the wheel of Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. And this is what we believe gets us towards our ambitions. But when we first started working against these ambitions, we recognized the need. We need to have a capability to manage our action plans, track progress, communicate with leadership, and so on and so forth. And at the time, there was nothing on the market that would meet our needs. Obviously, we would like to buy something off the shelf. It's always easier, cheaper, etc. But there was nothing there, so we developed SMS, and it's our again engine for this important cycle that we have in the company that we established. We recently did a landscape assessment, and we believe SMS remains unique. That's why we are working with Clouds on Mars on licensing it globally, because we believe sustainability is shared responsibility. So thank you again. We look forward to answer your questions during the networking sessions and meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Isa. Just to be very clear, when it comes to Procter & Gamble, when you visit your bathroom this evening, perhaps half of the products that you will find them there will have Procter & Gamble label at the back of the bottle. So let's move forward with ambition, with data, and with control. And let's make sustainability something we don't just talk about, but something that we truly control, that we truly manage. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcin and Isa. It was really important to talk because, you know, usually, and I know it from my perspective, that the goals about sustainability are huge. And then you even introduce the solution, but then the follow-up is the challenge. So really congrats to Marcin and Isabella. And now, you know, we have another presentation. And usually when you organize the transport, you ship it via, for example, I don't know, ships, ferries, etc. And then you deliver it to a certain point in the country. But then it is usually the last mile which matters. And usually it's a challenge for companies and people who organize so-called last mile, how to do it in order to make the whole transport chain cheap and effective. But there are some solutions on that, and we have Michał Zgała, and the last mile matters. Okay, Michał, so let's explore how to enhance it with some smart solutions.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello, so my name is Michał Zgała and I'm here from Software Mind, and today I will say a word or two on last mile, how to enhance it and the lessons that we learned during the process in Poland, which is also called the Lockerland. Maybe you heard this phrase. But before we begin, a little bit about the company. We are a global technology partner, international software house with headquarters in Poland. And I'm representing Logistic Business Unit, where for the last 8 years we are supporting logistic companies with a custom software that right now handles almost 500 million packages. And we specialize in last mile. And today I will talk about last mile, but we welcome all the logistic projects. Okay, let's go. So before we jump to the lessons, I would like to acknowledge the perfect storm we are facing in logistics right now. So I heard that you are facing a couple difficult challenges at once. From one side, it's regulatory pressure, like net zero emission, that my colleague Marcin before me said a little bit about, ESG reporting, emission tracking, and so on. From other side, there's economical pressure, rising fuel costs and labor costs, uncertain markets, creating the environment where every optimization counts. From other side, there's technology pressure, like legacy systems that weren't built for modern days challenges like cyber threats, immobility, and competitive pressures. Tech disruptors gaining traction in every sector. Customers expecting Amazon-level service like same-day delivery and all-around tracking. A lot of challenges at once, but there is hope. And we are bringing this hope from Poland, the last mile laboratory. So for past decade, Poland has been an innovation hub for last mile innovations. Right now we have 39,000 parcel lockers in Poland. That's the most in the world, except for China. And to compare it with some other countries, it's more than UK, Germany and France combined. In Poland, almost 80% of customers are choosing out of home, which is automated parcel machine and pickup drop-off points over the door-to-door delivery, and that's the most in the world. It's a little less than half, than 2 times more than in European Union. But the adoption just started with logistic operators adding thousands of new parcel machines every year. So for this very competitive market, 15 plus active operators are fighting every year. So this is how it looks like in real life. That's the central Warsaw. As you can see, 3 parcel machines on every street corner, even more pickup drop-off points. A lot of that. But take a look at the street view. So there's a lot of them. I mean, really a lot. And logistic executives from all around the world are coming to Poland to see this unusual situation and the densest out-of-home network in the world. I like this picture, especially look at the power cord at the bottom for the 5th parcel locker in the same location. And sometimes they are far away, and sometimes they're hiding in the dark alley because there are so many of them that they cannot stuff it in the normal locations. But why there are so many of them? Because customers love it. They love it for 24/7 pickup on their terms, without waiting for a courier, with a long storage, less CO2, lower cost, and very reliable delivery. But for companies, this is a real deal. 12 times more deliveries with the same van, with the same courier, 1,800 parcels versus 115 door-to-door delivery. So it translates into solving most last-mile challenges of modern days. It's green, it's fuel-savvy, it requires smaller team. It's easy to automate in the nearest future and quite easy to scale. But why I am telling you all this? Because we were supplying courier companies with digital transformation in this very competitive market for the last 8 years. And it requires a big shift in the way that they are thinking about our IT system. Legacy system upgrade, because all their systems weren't ready for swift redirections, adding thousands of new hardware integrations every year. It required elevated user experience, because right now there is no courier around to help you out if something in the application went wrong. And lightning fast time to market. Competition is heavy. Who scales the network first wins the hearts and the wallets of the consumers. So right now I would like to share with you 3 lessons that we learned during this unusual transformation that may be valuable for you if you are doing the digital transformation yourself. So the first lesson is, if you want to build, first go in the field. And that was our lesson working with one of the biggest courier companies in Poland. They came to us with the pretty usual task: build an app that helps courier deliver more parcels, and they gave us specification. It was all there. Specs, diagrams, system architecture, all written by analysts behind closed doors. So we did the job and released the app, and it looked perfect during the test. But after production release, it was a disaster. Like, couriers hated it. They said the process is too complex, it requires multiple steps to accomplish simple task. The route planning was pretty long, and the payment app was disconnected, so they had to use different app for completing cash-on-delivery task. Also, it had usability issues, like the buttons were too small to operate in gloves or during delivering the parcel, and unclear notifications, and what's the worst, the app was ringing during the night while charging at courier's house, waking them up. Couriers doesn't like to be woken up in the night. So we understood that we followed the documentation, but not real-life problems. So we changed our approach. And we went driving with couriers, all our developers, designers, even me, as you can see on attached screen. And we observed how they work on daily basis. We worked in pickup drop-off point, we worked in sorting facility, getting to know every nuance of their everyday work. And we implement optimizations. So we enhanced the route planning, so it is easier and faster. We unified the process workflows, so they could use one app instead of 3. And we automated development pipelines, and so for faster releasing and getting lower time to market. So it translated pretty quickly into measurable business outcomes. So route planning time cut by half. Parcel machine handling time reduced by 80%. And it gave us 10% more delivery time per courier, and time to market shortened from 6 months to just 1 month. And it was all possible when they stopped coding for a moment and started really listening to the people in the field. Okay, so lesson number 2, first the roots, then the fruits. This lesson is about process design. It's a little different. Another pretty usual task, we need just the tracking software, give us the tracking software, because we are losing parcels every day and we don't know why. So learning from the previous mistakes, we went straight to the core, the sorting facility at 4 a.m. in the morning, and we saw the real issue, and I have to tell you, it wasn't the software issue, it was pretty process issue. Lots of manual work, no shelves, no conveyor belts, no process, just people process was depending on people and not system that was helping them to follow the steps. So no unified labeling system as well. So it created the environment where every issue creates the chain reaction and loss of time and money. So we went straight to the sketching board and tried to design the process that is combining data, hardware, people, and a software into one chain that is supporting the people, not making it harder for them. And we implemented. So there was a custom labor generator, scanning at the entrance to the sorting facility, conveyor belts helping to move parcels, the shelf layout that had every shelf attached to one courier route, and our app was showing them where to put the parcels on, and every shelf was just 3 steps ahead from the sorting staff, so it makes it easier for them to sort the parcels. And in case of any damage, just 2 clicks and they could report it without stopping the whole workflow. And the staff really liked it, and it also gave us the business outcomes. The processing capacity was highly increased, and the missing parcels reduced way down. So the lesson here for us is that we cannot just digitize the wrong process. And sometimes the biggest gains can be gained not by writing the software, but by combining hardware, software, and the right process in one place. So the lesson 3 is about the hardware, short one. Cheap gear, bad deal. And this is about the story where we get the task to build an app, and the client said we will use existing software because it will be cheaper. And couriers had their own devices, Android devices that they were using every day. So we built an app, and during the release and production testing, it showed us that the devices slowed down because new application was more resource heavy. Also, because of the new features that were very resource heavy, their battery ran down during the busy day, making couriers had to recharge the battery during the day and lose time. And what was the worst, that the scanning via smartphone camera was pretty unreliable, especially in low light condition with bent etiquettes. I guess you know the problem. So we went in the field, like in lesson 1, and measured the impact, and it was massive. On every batch scan, like in sorting facility or pickup drop-off point, they lost up to 5 minutes, which adds up to 1 hour per courier per day. And quick math, it turns out we could buy 8 new proper devices with laser scanner for just a day of working with this app. So that was our recommendation. Please switch to the Zebra devices that were tried and tested in our previous projects with laser scanning, high reliability, and these investments repaid in just 6 months. As a bonus, we get 3 times longer lifetime of the devices because of higher durability. So this lesson is about that cheaper hardware isn't always better, and we always have to calculate the total cost of ownership because cheaper is not always better. And the courier satisfaction with the right tool for the work is priceless. Okay, that were my 3 lessons. Time is running out, so I have to finish right now. But in my opinion, the right question for this conference isn't if we have to adapt or fall behind. The right question is how fast to adapt and with whom. And in my opinion, it is worth to do it with a partner who already done these lessons and has the domain expertise. And if you are on a lookout for such partner, I'm here to talk, and also please add me on LinkedIn for more deep dives on topics like this. I'll be publishing some articles on this next week, so let's stay in touch. Thank you for your time. I hope it brings value to you.
Thank you, Michał. Thank you. Yeah, as Michał mentioned, the goal of this meeting is, also to see different solutions. Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce is the place where we show different solutions because this Google search trick that when you don't know what to write into it, you don't know. So we would like to show you what you can check and what solutions are available on the market. And the next speaker is our frequent guest. So I think this is Fredrik, 3rd time he present here during this seminar. In fact, this year I was responsible for the first time to organize the shipment on the plane, which was first time for me. Now we will skip to aviations. Aviation's new era is here. Fredrik Kämpfe opens the door to some fresh opportunities. So Fredrik, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I felt that the presentations that we've seen were brilliant, and I think they will overshine me, but I'll make an honest attempt to inspire you as well. My presentation is more about really the future of aviation and possibly less about what we have here and now. But I wanted still to, because I've listened to the presentations carefully, and don't forget, because I saw on one slide, it said, reduce air freight. That's interesting. That's interesting. I would say increase the usage of sustainable aviation fuel so that you get your shipments in time to where it has to be. So to Marcin and Isa, let's talk about this afterwards, right? Okay. Thank you. So with that start, aviation's new era and new opportunities. A long story short, let's call it that. I'm representing the Swedish Aviation Industry Group. We are a group of about 95 aviation companies in Sweden from the whole ecosystem, as you can see on the right side. And we work with our companies to bring ourselves and them into the future, and of course handling the reality today as well. And one thing that is clear is that the electrification of air transport, be it longer or shorter, will revolutionize the business that we're in different ways, and I think in ways that we haven't really figured out yet. This is because there's a change of technologies, there's a change of, and this is also, it coincides with digitalization and AI and other things, right? So it's something that we will have to keep track of because there are many convergences now of technologies. These words are not my words, but it's from one of the government's specialists that made a report on aviation 2 years ago. And well, as you can see, if the production of electricity is fossil-free and sustainable, electric flight is probably the most sustainable and climate-smart mode of transportation available. So keep that in mind. Just think about how much infrastructure we need for that. And I was inspired to see the small package centers in the cities. Well, imagine there was a parking lot there, and you have these production lines. Well, you land a drone with 100 packages, and you can speed up that delivery immensely, I think. So, my friends, aviation is updating. I don't know if it's 1.0 or 2.0, which version we are getting to, but certainly we are updating it. And interestingly, you will see on the slide that there's a sort of loop back now in technologies as well, because I will show you a slide that resembles what we see here in the beginning of the century. And then we will have also, of course, the future here with the electrification and drones and eVTOLs. And to make a long story short, this slide, you will, by the way, of course, have these slides afterwards so you can have a look. It basically says that where you read sustainable aviation fuel, that is something that we can do here and now. And I really challenge you to go out there and use as much as you can, purchase as much as you can, because that's the way we're going to transit today's aviation to a more sustainable future, and we need that. But for the rest, there is electric and hybrid electric and hydrogen fuel cell possibilities in the, let's say, the right part of this picture, which is then commuter, regional, short haul. Medium haul and long haul will probably be devoted to present technology and sustainable aviation fuel for quite some time. But again, with sustainable aviation fuel, we can reach net zero as well. So then we have the drones flying in, literally, because they're not on this picture really. And this is going to change and take us to the next level. Where we, this is in Swedish, but basically it's sustainable aviation and fossil-free aviation. And the magic with this is that when we look at sustainable aviation, we're not just talking about the fuel, the energy, but we're talking about really new technologies that will bring us to something that we haven't really seen yet. So if the task is sustainable aviation, which is really the task, we need to bring all the transport modes to a much more sustainable future to reach net zero, certainly also for aviation. So we have to make current aviation more sustainable, but then also leverage sustainable aviation as the energy and the tool to improve regional accessibility with technology. And there, as you probably know, and as I hope you have seen in the media, there's quite a lot being done right now. I'll just show you a few examples, and then you can let your imagination go wild. Do you know about this company, Jetson? Okay, so this is already flying races. This is a Swedish entrepreneur building this in Italy, I think, at the moment. Had problems with the Swedish authority to get the permits, I don't know, possibly. And the pictures are from Jetson's home webpage. Now, imagine this technology in a couple of years when it's been refined. Fully electric, probably fully automated as well, and autonomous, and with a network of artificially intelligent drop-up points. You know exactly where to be at what time, when people ship what and where. And exclude possibly also here the driver and replace that with some 100 kilos of freight. That's what we're looking at. And it's not far away. This is already flying, and they're doing races. You know, if you Google delivery by drone, you get thousands of fancy pictures. These are two real examples. So this is Zipline, where they have delivery stations. That's another example where they also test this in winter. But already in 2025, this year, they're looking at about between 8 and 13 million business-to-customer deliveries by drones. This is already happening, so I'm not saying that this is in the future, I'm saying it's here and now. The question is, how do we adapt and draw advantages of this? And here's the blimp that I showed you. So we're back to the, not back to the future, but back to the old times, where we have blimps, possibly with hundreds of drones. So this is an artificially created, generated picture. That one is real. So the idea is to use a bigger transport vehicle to offload tons and tons of goods to the area where it's supposed to, the city or the region, and from there you simply drop down drones and deliver to the packaging station or maybe just to your backyard. Is this futuristic? Is this impossible? No, it's not. It's already a plan. Now, the blimp on the other side was flown over Sweden as a test activity. It's a Finnish company, and they also are planning for delivery drone from the blimp in areas where it just takes a long time and where you don't have infrastructure, you don't have the roads, you don't have the railroads to take you there in a good and efficient way. So, friends, sustainable aviation is about making air travel more sustainable, for sure, but it also entails breakthrough technologies that will play an essential role in a sustainable, efficient, and as affordable future mobility system. So, logistics, for sure, it's an area where we haven't talked enough about. So, throttle up and think about the benefits when it comes to connectivity, profitability, and as well climate. There are tick-offs in every area, and we go from transporting from point to hub and hub to point. Instead, we will be able to transport to where people and companies are. Imagine the societal gains and benefits for our economy if we do that. That's an efficiency that we cannot just miss out on. So my last slide, the potential by 2045. The convergence of eVTOLs, drone and hybrid electric aviation is poised to trigger a massive transformation, massive in transport and logistics. And it's driven by obvious things, the cost advantages and the ground infrastructure that we actually can jump over to a certain degree. And the conclusion is here that the next 2 decades will offer us the advanced air mobility that will take us into the new generation with a market value which experts estimate to these numbers. I can hardly read them, they are so big. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Aviation will change the world again, but are you ready for it? Thank you.
A great presentation, Fredrik. Thank you very much. The next presentation, because, you know, logistics and transport, we cannot forget that these are services, supportive services for the global trade, for the economy. And that's why we also decided to, let's say, broaden a little bit the topics that we will cover here during this supply chain seminar. And we will have a very interesting presentation, and I think we will try to answer the question, why are Polish and Baltic construction giants missing out in Sweden's private-public partnership boom? And we have here Ulf Djurberg, who will try to investigate on that.
Thank you very much. And I mean, the speeches that we've heard, they were fantastic. I will drag you down to something more legal, a little bit more boring, but anyhow, I think very interesting from a lot of perspectives. So first of all, thank you very much for having me here at the Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce. And today I will talk about how NATO membership and strategic public-private partnerships, PPPs, are driving infrastructure investment and economic growth in Sweden. And after the presentation, if we have time, a little discussion or maybe a couple of questions from me about why large construction companies from Poland and the Baltic States are missing out in the Swedish PPP rally. My name is Ulf Djurberg. I'm head of infrastructure and PPP strategies at the Magnusson law firm here in Stockholm. Magnusson is a firm with presence not only in the Nordics but also in the Baltic States. I have more than 30 years of experience of alternative financing through PPP. As I said, PPP stands for Public-Private Partnership and is a long-term arrangement where a public sector entity and a private company collaborate. We'll be talking a lot about collaborations here today, so this is another way of doing it. They are collaborating on a project. And under a PPP, the private sector partner typically takes on significant risks, management responsibilities, and finance for the project's design, construction, operation, and maintenance, and with payment often linked to performance. And this collaboration allows governments to leverage private sector expertise, efficiency, and capital to deliver public infrastructure and services. And the reasons for PPP being of such great interest right now is that the Swedish government during 2025 has opened up for future investments in PPP projects. And as late as 3 weeks ago, 30th September, the Swedish Transport Administration came up with a list of approximately 20 projects where the PPP model could be considered. In other words, and now you don't understand why I'm so excited, we have a list. We have a list of 20 projects that could be considered for PPP. It will be a new era. And then you think that there has been no PPPs in Sweden, but there have been a couple of them on a state level, and there has been many of them on a municipality or county council level. So it's not totally unknown, and I have been actually working on most of them. So let's see here what we have. This is today's agenda. You can see what it's all about, and we'll have to keep up the speed in order to click out on 12 minutes. So, in the first place, let's see here now what we have right here. Yes, Swedish logistics and infrastructure must evolve. It has to. And I have put up a couple of points here, bullet points, on trying to answer these things. But there is a huge infrastructure debt, a huge infrastructure maintenance and investment need. And Sweden has underinvested, you know that. And the infrastructure requires significant renovation and upgrade to meet current and future demands. As an example, the national road network were built before 1970 with a technical lifespan between 40 to 60 years. And I mean, some of them, you don't think that it has passed 60 years, but it has. Those years have passed. So we're on the roads, I don't know, to hell. So, and there is also capacity constraints, of course. And one of the most famous capacity constraints is, in Swedish, getingmidjan, the wasp waste. And that is the passage over the water into Stockholm Central. And that one was built in the 50s. And more or less nothing has been done to it. And there is a train every 3 minutes all around the clock. So there must be some renovation on that as well. And I can just keep on going and going through the different projects. And it will never stop, actually. I will not talk about the other ones. They are a little bit more on planning. But I will continue to talk a little bit about the NATO membership. And first of all, I mean, Sweden has committed to reaching 5% of GDP in defense spending by 2035. It's a huge amount of money. And all this money will be spent on different things, of course, but a lot of the money will have to be spent into infrastructure, not only military infrastructure, but also civil infrastructure in order to keep up with the demands from the NATO. And secondly, I don't know if you know that, but NATO has decided to establish a logistics management headquarter in Sweden, and that will directly and indirectly mean that we need, I mean, only the building, but then we need more and more and more infrastructure. So there will be a lot of things to do. So what kind of projects have I been involved in? And these are the two main ones. Is the fixed link under the Öresund between Helsingborg and Helsingør. This is only on the planning stage, a huge project, super important for goods coming from, let us say, Oslo, and that it will go down to Germany somewhere. There is a bottleneck right now. The bridge from Malmö to Copenhagen is already a bottleneck, so we need those two tunnels. It's under planning. The other one is the Oslo-Stockholm Railway, and this is actually existing, but we have to replan it, reschedule, and build some new parts. And this is a partly state project and partly in accordance with the report that we actually launched a couple of months ago. This part, the over the border between Karlstad and Ski in Norway, that one could be handled as a PPP project. That would be perfect. Port of Luleå, we established a concession, not running unfortunately, but it was done. And then we have the bypass of Örnsköldsvik, which is a tunnel, perfect in shape for being paid by toll roads. So here are some examples of the projects that we need to finance through PPPs in the future, because they are not in the plan. It's strange, isn't it, that they're not in the plan? Let's continue. I mean, getting back to PPP and what it really means. It means, first of all, risk sharing and allocation. PPPs distribute project risk between public and private sectors, incentivizing private partners to complete projects on time and within budget. And this is because cost overruns directly impact their returns. And of course, access to private capital, which is super important. You really need to have some more capital. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I mentioned in the beginning that there is a huge investment from the government coming up in 2026, but it's not enough. And one of the most important things, and that is accelerated project delivery. I mean, you have heard about all these projects all over Sweden, which has been going on and going on and going on forever. If you use PPP, there will be faster construction timelines, I promise you. So let's talk about the report. 30th of September. So what was stated is that the state will spend over 100 billion euros in investments. That sounds like a lot of money, but it isn't. I mean, we have a 40-year maintenance debt that we have to cover in one way or another. So those 100 billion will, I mean, the time span is between 2026 and 2037. I promise you that those money are not any longer existing in 2028. So we need more money. And also, we're talking about defense costs and so forth. But the main investments will be in railways and state road infrastructure. All the other areas, they are also, of course, important. But railways and state road infrastructure, super important. I mean, the only way to actually handle this problematic situation is to launch a couple of PPP projects and then see what happens. And I think that they will be successful. But we're closing up here now, and to some final thoughts about this. We can say that we are in a period of the biggest investment in Sweden infrastructure in decades, or in some more words, due to general infrastructure maintenance and investment needs, Sweden has decided to invest 100 billion euros into Swedish infrastructure, but more money is needed. Therefore, Sweden has decided to try alternative financing through PPPs. And on top of this, NATO membership requires Sweden to spend even more money on infrastructure. And all this results in a situation where the demand for construction, engineering, and other such services will skyrocket. I have participated and arranged several so-called market days in order to make a little bit of advertisement and clarification for different projects. At those market days, we have seen companies from not only Sweden, but from Australia, Canada, USA, Finland, Norway, Austria, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Spain. There's a lot of companies from Spain. But not from Poland, not from the Baltics. So I'd ask myself, where are they? Why are they not here? Any suggestions there? Think about it. Why are large construction companies from Poland missing out in the Swedish PPP rally? In other words, there is a great opportunity for construction and engineering companies from Poland to invest in Sweden. And my recommendation is to target infrastructure related to defense, of course, railway, roads, and use the PPP model. So, but the question actually remains, why? Why don't we see any Polish companies out there? Why? Please answer my question, and I can show you that there is some money out there for you as well. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ulf. Yeah, I think we will have also the opportunity to discuss it further, because after the meeting we will have networking sessions. And now, dear ladies and gentlemen, and also our online viewers, we have this, I can say, surprise, a very fantastic guest. And I would say that today I'm also inspired by many, let's say, inspirational speakers, but also within the logistics. We need to predict some trends. We have to be future-oriented. And we have here a fantastic guest, Stefan Engeseth, and this is a person who is, of course, guest professor, but what I like, he's like future creator, and this really, I like it, but let's see, and warm welcome to Stefan Engeseth, strategy consultant, performance coach, and guest professor. Stefan, the floor is yours.
Thank you for an excellent presentation. My name is Stefan Engeseth. Thanks to Jerry and your organization for inviting me. I used to work in logistics for the Swedish Postal Service before it were renamed PostNord. But anyway, every time I had an opinion when we had meetings, there was a coffee break, and I didn't understand why. But the reason was I didn't get the point with consensus. I had an opinion. And so there was a lot of coffee breaks, but suddenly other organizations called me and said, we heard that you are cocky. And I said, I'm not cocky. And they said, we like to pay you this much. And then I said, I'm cocky. That's how this all started, actually. And I couldn't find good strategies. Oh, I haven't seen that before. So I couldn't find good strategies. So I turned to nature, because in nature I find really good strategies. So I wrote a book called Sharkonomics. So I studied sharks for 3 years, and what I've been doing now for about 30 years is to get corporations to adapt and move or die. The dying part is not my field, if you say so. It's someone else. But if we move, we have to move. So I want all of you, could you just stand up for 2 seconds and move your body a bit? Get some new air in your body, your brain. All right, so now you can sit down again. So, thank you so much. Excellent, an applause to you. Big applause to you. But anyway, so I've been doing this and writing the book, and Sharkonomics is moving fast. As it's coming out in 8 different languages. It's selling the best in China. I think why it's selling good in China in both in Cantonese and in Mandarin is because. They are a little bit like sharks, you could say, in China. They don't care about fancy words, or if you're going to Stanford and so on. They take a bite, they don't do PowerPoints, and they keep on biting. So, and I guess it's the same with Polish corporations, isn't that? Yes. Yes, thank you so much. So, we will dive into Sharkonomics, and the theme for my speech is move or die. It's very much into adopt the theme. So, why Sharkonomics? Well, I've been studying strategies for about 20 years, and I really like strategy. But business strategy, you can say, and everything is connected. Strategy is connected to competition, and business strategy is this level. The next level is sport, where you actually have attack and you have defense, so it becomes much more clear. The next level is military, much better strategies. And when I realized this, I actually called Swedish Secret Service, SEPO, and I asked them if I could do an interview with them. And they asked me if I was joking. We're not here to tell our strategies. That's not what we do in Secret Service. But I've been doing interviews with the former analyst director, and I've been doing interviews in different countries with Secret Service, but I also realize it's not good to be too good in that field. They don't like that. So I'm not super good, you could say. But anyway, so what I realized, the reason for why it is so good is because it's like science fiction compared to business, the business world. Do you know why? Do you know why they're so good? Because it's the consequence. People, this is about life or death. If you could do a mistake in the business world, you had to play golf for 6 months. So you really don't care so much. But here you start caring a lot. So the strategy needs to be much, much better. But in nature, the competition is much higher because the giraffes, they cannot say to the lions, I'm not in your business field. Doesn't work like that. And what they also doesn't tell in the nature shows is that cannibalism is practical. Yeah, so, and that's what we call headhunting in business world. You don't add anything to your business community, if you say so. But the next level is digitalization. So the graphs, they cannot hide anywhere in the digital world. So Alibaba and different business fields, they jump into the water everywhere. So, but if we look into the future, then we have something else. Then we have competition we can't believe today. No one in Stanford or MIT, they will understand anything about the strategy that's coming, because we need to change, we need to adapt much, much quicker, and we need to adapt also so the planet wants to have us here, and so to say. But I've been studying sharks for 3 years. I've been taking a diving certification. Is there anyone who is a diver here? Thank you, 3 person. Then you know that this sign means that you have a shark behind you. Thank you. So, and you get attention when you show that for the other diver. Yeah. So what I've done is I've been hanging out with the great white sharks in South Africa and diving with them. And they've been around for 420 millions of years. And I boiled it down to 10 attack strategies and also to 10 defense strategies. So I'm probably the only one in the world holding defense workshops for the business world yet. But we don't have time for that today. So I want you to read those 10 attack strategies and discuss with somebody beside you which are the ones you can use today or tomorrow. And those are based on real shark behavior. It's not me being creative. So I've been working together with the best shark experts in the world, many of them. Okay. And you will get this presentation afterwards also by Jari. Okay, so have a discussion about 1-2 minutes about which one you can use. Okay? Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having this energy and discussion. I would love to hear your opinion. Please say the number and why you choose that strategy.
Only one number?
You can take two.
Okay.
Yeah, two.
Well, don't get stuck in history. I think that's a fantastic one. And when it comes to my segment, aviation, we are very bound by history. Our rules and regulations are historically derived rules and regulations. And I think we also have this in our heads a bit. So to take the next step and really advance the transport system, don't get stuck in history. And the second one, move or die. We cannot stand still on where we are because of sustainability, but many other things. So we need to move on. And otherwise we might, well, not die, at least we will not succeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I remembering I was doing a lecture releasing a book in an airplane. And I convinced the captain that I should have his clothes. And he said, if you do that, you need to drive the plane. He said. But thank you so much. I will reflect on what you said in a few minutes. Somebody else have an opinion? Yes.
I really like kill with style because the strategy implies that you're going to get the kill. And it also means that you have to keep in mind the style. So the brand and how you do it. Yeah. Which is, I think it's more out of the box than all the other strategies there.
Thank you so much. An applaud, all right. All right. Okay.
I would like to be quite boring and say the same as the first person, the don't get stuck in history. The field is military and AI IT. So in that field, everything has changed dramatically. Yeah. But our pick was also the first one, the planning long before you attack. Yeah. That's the long-term viewing, then short-time acting.
Yeah. So you were in the military field?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I do interviews in that field, and they don't like it, but I'm still doing them. Somebody else? Yes.
Okay, just a very quick one. Of course, I like the idea of planning and being in in constant movement and etc. and not looking into the history. But what I think is very, very important is the timing. I like the point number 7, because even with the best strategy, when you open a restaurant 5 days before the pandemic, it will basically not work, right? So whether we plan it or not, the good timing is sometimes like crucial.
Yeah. So. Thank you so much for giving all this energy to it. Some reflections, quick reflections. I've been doing workshops more or less around the world, and everybody has a problem with number 2. Doesn't matter what business field it is, but what I can see is the pattern. The longer the business field has been around, the more easier it is to get stuck. And the more successful you get stuck. And the less competition you have, you get stuck. And we are wired as a species to save energy when things are going good, so we lean back. And we can see this in research and science when it comes to corporations. But anyway, number 5 is someone I use. Well, this is like telephone numbers. You can combine them forever. But number 5 is something I always use when corporations they hire me to attack them, which is really fun. But they pay me more the more brutal I am. So I'm trying to find the right level when I do that. And it's quite easy when it comes to if it's airlines or if it's transportation. The more regulation you have, the more you get stuck in history, you could say easily. So, but the question is, are you a shark? I do have permission for this. Are you a shark? And Nisse, you like the logo and you see the, yeah. So do you feel that you're a shark in your field? Does your corporation die if it doesn't move? Do your business field die if it doesn't move? Yes.
You mentioned nature being one of the top, like timing and so forth. I would say find your own animal, because everybody has their own animal, their own spirit. So understand your animal and then behave like that animal.
Yes, there's a lot to learn from all animals, and there's, well, about 8 million around. So, there's a lot to learn. But this animal, this great shark, when I was standing on the boat, I don't know why, but the ceiling is about this. So I was standing very close like this. It's okay? Yeah. I was standing very close, and when the shark looks up like this, it's called window shopping, and the head is about this. It's about 5 meters long, and it was only looking at me, so starting to get nervous because I know what it did. It predict what I will do. So I asked the science person beside me, world-class science person that I'm seeing on National Geographic and anything. But science person, they're like kids. They got no social boundaries, in my opinion. So I asked him, and at the time I was about 20, my weight was about 20 kilos more. So I asked him, why is it only looking at me? For 20 minutes. We were 20 people on the boat. And he looked at me like up and down and he said, hey, Stefan, it's because you look like a seal. For sure, he said it, you know. And I was shocked. How can he say, you're not allowed to say that, you know. So I was starting to look around and I said, maybe I look like a seal, you know. It's like, what's happening? But the point is, I was thinking about throwing him to the shark, by the way, but after a while. But the thing is, there's a lot of business corporations in your business field that looks like a seal. So you will attract a lot of corporations, hungry sharks, that will go for you and your market shares with digitalization, new innovation, and they will hunt change. So the faster you move, the faster you adapt to the future, the less they can bite you, the less they can take market shares for you. And I have so what's happening is when you've been around for a while, it's easy to become fat and happy. And you can see this when it comes to the corporations, when you study them with science, Jim Collins and those who study who disappeared, who sticks around, it's because it's in the beginning when you start a company, you're sort of in love. You can do anything. But then in the culture, it's developed a feeling, an emotional feeling of you decline the need to change. So you stick to history, you become conservative, and that's no good. When I met Richard Branson, I don't show this to say that I meet famous people a little bit, but you have proof I was quite heavy at the time, you know. And he looks like a shark. So what he's saying, if you don't adapt, if you don't move forward, you will sink. And a way to not sink as an organization is actually to create a tribe around your brand and inside your brand. So I've been working with the company for a couple of years who build the biggest cruise lines in the world, and they work as a tribe now, and they getting orders and very successful. And I cannot take credit for this because I've been interviewing native Indians, and they're the best in the world to build tribes. So, and this is how you can do it. You work in 4 different levels, and the goal for them is to know what ships that will be built 3 years before they start to build them. And one ship can cost about 1 billion euros, so it's a lot of investment, and they need to know in time. Just like if you sell airplane, you need to know a long time before. And this is the solution for how you can not get stuck in history. So I do a lot of workshops with corporations, and if this is your company now in present time, and this is your company in the future, you have to define where you are and what you want to be in the future. And also, if you define what you don't want to be in the future, it makes it so much more clear. So it is an easy model with 3 different levels, but you can take it to the next level. But here you have what to do, and here you have what not to do. And for those in the corporation that feel that they're more here, it's not to say that they're not talented, but they are in the wrong tribe. So they need to move to another corporation, all right? And here, you can start to hire the people that wants to belong to your future. And then you get a faster evolution to the future. And then you can take it to the next level by having different bus stops. On each and every bus stops, new persons can jump off and new persons can jump on. And then you have a dynamic future and people will move much faster. And I've been doing this with leadership and board members in different organizations. In one organization, the only thing they could agree on is what they not are. And then you have a negative corporate culture that will attract negative energy. All right? And something that I was together with the therapist for 20 years. I can say that was a bit of a challenge. But you learned a lot, and I saved 1,000 crowns an hour for 20 years. So there's a lot of skills in psychology, if you say so. And something that's coming a lot in psychology is positive psychology. So what you think is what's happening, and that's the same for organization. If you have a negative corporate culture, it will not go good. But if you have a positive corporate culture with positive psychology, things will move much faster and you will attract talent. You will attract super talent. And when you attract super talent that once Google and Spotify and those corporations did, things will speed much, much faster. And there is a talent magnet in every business field there is. All right? Could you have a reflection with your neighbor around this model? How useful do you think it is for your organization? For 1 minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, does anyone have an opinion?
First, we started kind of being negative around you, that this is a traditional model, so don't be mad. But then, because this is what everybody, like Stephen Bartlett and so forth, every coach talks about this, about A players attract A players and so forth. But what is more interesting is actually, if you are a business leader, you are in A, and suddenly you decide to disrupt your own business. And that's much more interesting based on the facts around the shark, around the current trends with huge changes. So a great model. Then we kind of, way. Thank you.
And I applaud it. It's okay to be critical. Thank you. It's okay. It's okay. That's I'm not the consensus person, so that's okay. So, but the thing is, this part of the model is very famous. But when it comes to define what you not are as an organization, that could be sort of a new dimension. And also, what I like with having a movement to the future where people can get off, exit, and people can join, that makes it more dynamic. And it's so simple, easy, this model, that I can use it for the biggest Fortune 500 companies, and also I can use it in the kindergarten. Everybody will understand it, so that's what I like. So, is there somebody else who have an opinion? Do you feel familiar with this?
Hi, yes, I'll keep it short. I've been a witness of actually a company going from the -A to the definite B, and she's sitting next to me here together with her colleague. It's Daria Pak from Naturel. I've seen how in less than 2 years, definitely, how they went from a negative trend and how the negative energy was draining the company, and how she deliberately, slowly but surely, picked on the people that were moving the company forward. And we actually spoke about this specific change the last time we had a lunch. It's so interesting to see how it just came out in a theory. Not that I wasn't thinking of the theory, I was just thinking of the reality of it. So I had to lift her a little bit, and yeah. No, of course.
Fantastic. If you stick around, I'd love to hear more about that case. But thank you so much for giving good energy to this short speech. And if you would like to connect and do so, I would send you a gift that will take you to the future and not get stuck in history. So that's something a tool that I cannot deliver in 14 minutes. But I would love to thank Jerry and the chamber. Yes, my brain is popping with the cases and everything. So, but thank you so much for taking your time, and I hope to see you afterwards in the mingle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefan. It was extremely interesting and inspirational. But now we will skip to the panel, but let us organize the chairs. Please stick to us, and we will be discussing the supply chain perspectives and challenges. So let's grab a coffee online, people, and we will come back shortly. Okay, so we agreed with the panelists that we will have, each of us will have 3 questions, let's say, and I will try to keep the time about 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes for each question. So maybe we will begin with David Ringmar, because the discussion is about co-creation and the future. And when we are talking about the future, also the future of logistics, we talk about sustainability. And David represents energy transition and sustainability, I don't know, department I can call. David, how do you see sustainability shaping logistics in the 5 next year? Can you tell us, elaborate a little bit more about this? I will give you the microphone and I will take a new one.
Well, thank you. Good to see you all. So my name is David Ringmar. I'm working with a lot of clients within energy transition and sustainability. And I guess what I see with the following 5 years, it will, on the one hand, still be very dominated by Trump, I think. So quite a lot of setback on sustainability in a reporting, regulatory, and possibly also capital market perspective. But there's 2 things I still think will prevail during the 5-year period in sustainability. I think there is electrification, driven by decarbonization, a lot of investments in the power grids. They basically to stabilizing the grids that will create availability of electric power. So I think electrification of fleets will still go on. I think that's one sustainability driver short term. The second thing I think is still prevailing is human rights in the value chain. I think that has a lot to do with liberal Western ideals. So I think that still will be very crucial for logistics. I think that might develop ecosystems of values more. So basically our relationship to China will be challenging, possibly. Geopolitics will play a big role here, but electrification and human rights.
Okay, my microphone didn't work. Okay, thank you, David. And maybe I will also use the opportunity to begin with people who are not, especially from logistics and transport sector, so-called. You've mentioned the sustainability, but we have also the architect here, Viktor Kudin. Yeah, and this is also interesting question to you. How can infrastructure design adapt to rapid, without we have to say this, to rapid mobility shifts?
Yes, first of all, maybe I will say a short introduction about myself, since, as you said, I'm coming from a little bit different background, not the typical transport supply chain sector. I'm an architect representing Grunqvist Architects. We are an architectural office in Stockholm, primarily focusing on planning and designing large-scale infrastructure projects, from metro and tram systems to terminals, bridges, stations.
You are talking transport and logistics.
Yes, no, it is transport and logistics a lot. And getting back to the question about the mobility and how our cities are actually changing, it's the pace of change is incredible, and we as architects, with our work, we of course have to adapt to all those different new ways of living, of transportations. Today we had a presentation about new ways of delivering packages, drones, that creates a new needs for new infrastructure. And we working with planning with very early stages, we have to think think long term in a sustainable way to be able to come up with solutions that will be resilient for many, many years ahead. And it's, I would say, a very big challenge because, of course, if we are drawing a metro station today, it takes years to deliver a project and then another maybe 10 or 15 years to build it. And this station has to be able to adapt for the future needs that we don't even know about yet. So I think this is a huge challenge, but the answer to this is to work with a design that is adaptable, flexible, that can adapt to the future needs that we don't even know about yet.
You know, I have to admit to Stefan that there is something in the energy, because you said, I have prepared questions, you know, person by person, and you're sitting in such an order. So I don't know how it happened, really. Okay, we are talking about electricity. And Carl Seder, what's the biggest barrier to adopting electric freight solutions today? What do you think about this?
Well, different pieces of that puzzle. To go electric in and of itself is quite easy. Just buy an electric truck and start operating it, right? To do that efficiently with a good TCO is a bit more complicated, right? So I think, and talking about the shift of the industry, what I really believe we're seeing now will be, it's not an electrification journey, it's a digitalization, electrification, and a path towards autonomous journey. So I think piece one of that challenge is to make the companies realize that the industry is changing, right? And that they might need to adopt a little bit in how they're working to achieve that. And we had the shark analogies, etc. And I think that's the exact thing. There's a lot of companies and a lot of people working within the transport or road freight sector that are quite fat and happy because they have been the same way for the last 80 plus years. And to really get the leverages and to because, I mean, let's not fool ourselves. No one will pay a 50% premium to go electric, not at scale, right? So the key to unlocking that is to get efficiencies up, and those efficiencies is unlocked through digitalization and through phasing in of those autonomous elements. So step one is to make the companies realize their unknowns, to get some change behavior and start working on changing how we are working, changing those processes. We had the perfect presentation of Software Mind earlier today on how it looked on the last mile, right? It's the exact same situation for all road freight, I would say. And in order, because electric can be done cheaper today, but not if you do it, or not if you try to replace one-to-one the way you're doing it, but by introducing digitalization, optimization from it, and in the long term, you have to go autonomous in that, and you have to start working with that platform, that digitalization today. So, long answer, but short answer to that would be to start working with that change management and start to prepare for that transformation.
Yes, exactly. And when we are talking about the awareness of the change, of course, we have to think about the people. And Daria, yes, I have the next on the list. So, Daria, you are the CEO of Naturel AB. And recently, last year, we talked about people. And also before the coffee break, you've mentioned about the fact that a lot has been changed in your company. And you've mentioned also that Sweden is for you a kind of a competitive hub and resource of interesting talents when we are talking about supply chain. Can you comment on this?
Yes, of course. Starting from the beginning, I would like to repeat that Sweden, one of the biggest competitiveness is Sweden is a hub of talents from all over the world. So it is attracting world-class scientists, world-class engineers from all over the world. They are coming here because of innovation culture, because of quality of life. Many people are coming for different reasons. So when I was hiring new top talents, I was amazed by all the talents, and I can proudly say that in Naturel, we have world-class engineers, world-class scientists, world-class supply chains, and in transportation teams as well, with Swedish top quality. Because I would like to just mention, not maybe everybody knows, Naturel AB is manufacturing in Åkersberga since 1934 food supplements, dietary supplements. And I was sent by our headquarters who acquired Naturel in 2016. Our headquarters is USP Group. to transform this organization, to make it innovative, but to make all those things, you need the right people. And Sweden is the location that attracts the right people. This is, I think, the most important part that all companies should see as a potential of this location. Thank you.
Thank you, Daria. Yeah, it's really interesting. And Fredrik Östling is a real estate rental manager. And how do logistics, for example, delays impact housing and construction timelines?
That's a good question. Hello, everyone. I can do a short introduction. This is not really our sector, but it's our customer sector. So what we do is that we provide fully furnished accommodation in not only Sweden, but in Europe. So we have the same furniture and everything. Everything is prepared, electricity, internet, furniture, for when the customers are coming here from other countries to work.
So you are connected with logistics from shipper perspective.
Exactly.
You have to have good service.
Yeah, that's true. And also the hardest thing for us is when a project is paused or when it's delayed, it's usually because of the materials that are stopped in some harbor due to duties or different regulations, which means that if I have a customer that they're counting on being 50 people on site, and we also prepare and make a budget for that to fix 50 apartments, and then there will be a stop on the project for 6 months that we haven't counted on or the customer have counted on, that affects us a lot.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we also meet here. And the goal of this meeting every year is also to show all those partners, present on the scene, that logistics is not only logistics itself and the companies that organizes the transport, but, each part, shipper, ports, digitalization, software solutions. Okay, thank you, Fredrik.
Thank you.
But how do you manage rising client expectations in this market? Marcin Adamowicz, maybe introduce yourself and tell us about this.
Yes, maybe I will start from introducing myself, as I also represent a company outside of logistics and transportation, but I will try to express my views focusing on transport and logistic companies, as we cooperate strongly with such clients. So at GS Services, we've been providing high quality services for over 10 years already, using a network of Polish top IT specialists recognized for their expertise in cloud computing, digital transformation, AI, DevOps, and many other fields. And our approach and our experience include supporting companies from various sectors, including logistics and transportation, as I said before. And as we're helping companies to optimize results, accelerate product delivery, and scale innovation. Our approach goes beyond traditional outsourcing, as we coordinate a network of Polish top IT engineers, helping European and American companies to accelerate product delivery, scale innovation, and achieve results. So in a sector growing at unprecedented rate, this model allows companies to adapt, innovate, and achieve results. And getting back to the question, we see that the client expectations in our and logistics sector are higher than ever. And it's not just about having access, for example, to IT talents. It's about delivering measurable business outcomes, faster delivery times, optimize routes, smarter warehouse management. Nowadays, customers expect from logistic companies not only to deliver goods, but complete data-driven experiences. So this trend is mostly visible in modern logistics, where e-commerce and on-demand delivery have set new standards like lifetime tracking, like the same-day delivery, and end-to-end transparency. So to meet this standard, we add what we call delivery enabler model, where we add, to the team delivery manager and technical leader who take full responsibility for the project. So we help our client to take responsibility on our end to help them to achieve their strategic goals and success.
Thank you. You know, on the logistics and transport scene, we have a bunch of extremely interesting and important solutions that really are sustainable and really can help to co-create a new scene for transport. We have also here Janusz Skóra-Cichowski. Maybe I will give him the microphone and he will tell you about their solution. I think we have to pay attention to this.
Thank you, Małgorzata, for introductory. So it's a great honor to be with these panelists. I am a little bit outside of the transport and logistics, but as you know, all domains benefits with good transport and logistics. And on daily basis, we are impacted by fluctuations, especially running business based on hardware electronic appliances manufacturing. So on daily basis, we support our partners to manufacture electronics in different domains: food equipment, critical infrastructure, smart home, and IoT systems. And we recognize that there is a trend to diversify supply chain, not only because economical factor that something needs to be cheaper, but to make the supply chain more resilient and allows run secure business and final product and deliver it to customers. So that's the core business which we run, and we see big change in that because this diversification is not motivated by economic only, but to make subcontractors to be expert in some domain and more than to be competitive, to be synergetical in providing the products.
Synergy is very modern.
So that's what we see at general. So synergy is the goal, and big change in the supply chain for electronic equipment. It's what we can definitely recognize.
Okay, so on the when I look at you all, so I can see also the lack. Maybe we will have next year somebody from the government institutions, because also I would say honestly the budget and financing is really crucial. And we have discussed it also with David. Maybe David, you would like to comment, because let's think about what role should governments or administration in general play in stabilizing logistics and amid global uncertainty? And you are representing PricewaterhouseCoopers, so maybe you are deliberating on that.
Thank you. So I'm not the government, but obviously I can have a view on where companies prosper in different schemes. So I think society should be clear on what it wants to achieve. So I think, for example, the 2050 net zero goals has been a fantastic communication platform to long-term tell the markets what they want to achieve. So in that sense, the strategic goals, I think, are super important. Then the midterm or tactical financing is the challenge here, I think. So for startups, there's tons of startups around climate decarbonization, which is cool. But the short-term financing and managing cash flows when there are bottlenecks in government systems or there are change in politics, I think that is the challenge, how you as an entrepreneur can manage cash flow in a tactical perspective, not really the long-term strategic goals. So I think in that sense, it's pretty clear what society wants. But on the other hand, we live in a democracy, at least hopefully more democracy, which makes systems go back and forth a bit. So for an entrepreneur, you need to be able to have a robust financing scheme to manage cash flow challenges short-term, basically. So I think the challenge here is not... The society should give you the strategic horizon. you need to be able to handle the tactical horizon on financing. But there are a lot of support schemes, so being able to be having grants, tax deductions, basically benefit from what society can give you as support is also a more important skill, I think, going forward.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like with the ship leaves the port, and because ships are usually female, so she is heading toward ports. Sometimes, you know, the road, the track is really difficult or more easy, but we have to collaborate on that road, right?
Is that a he or?
Yeah. No, but I don't know if you know. So when you use you are talking about the vessels, and ship in English is always she. So they are ladies. So I'm sorry. At least there. But anyhow, funny things. But we are talking about collaboration, and Victor, you are representing. You are an architect. Okay, so tell us honestly how logisticians and architects can collaborate. Maybe if we meet next year, we will collaborate. We will maybe not collaborate, but discuss if something happened.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is a very important question, the collaboration and this cross-disciplinary, cross-sector exchange of knowledge. And this is exactly what this conference is about. And I think for us as architects, planners, working with future infrastructure solutions for all different sectors that are sitting here around, this is extremely valuable to have those kind of dialogues. And I think one way of improving those long-lasting, sustainable solutions for the future is to bring all the people together. It's almost on, like you mentioned, a little bit like we're missing someone from government on a policy-making level, because when we as an architects would be involved on early stage together with all the other disciplines working in logistics sectors and so on, we can plan for solutions that we're not going to just get the brief, we have to design the stations like that, but we will start those dialogues much earlier. And I think to a big extent this is already happening, but we, of course, every opportunity to have this exchange of knowledge is important. And one thing I guess it's also important to mention is to bring actually this little bit of bottom-up approach and social sustainability that we as architects, we work a lot with to involve in early stage of designs and planning people and local communities and all the actors that will be later using those facilities. This is super important. So I think that to answer this question is that more of those kind of opportunities to sit together and have workshops and plan for a future together.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. And Carl said that I have also the question to you. Okay, so we know what we need, but how to educate, for example, clients who would be possible, for whom would be possible to embrace, you know, all those digital, enormous, you know, logistics solutions. So how to educate clients?
Step by step, I would say. No, but I think something we shouldn't underestimate. I mean, at Enra, what we're doing is we are the transformation partner for big companies to do the transition from quite analog and diesel, to be honest, or analog and fossil at least, into a more digital, electric and autonomous transport supply chain. So I think for me, rule number one would be work with someone who knows a little bit on what needs to be done, that has some experience in that field, and work with a partner you can trust in that process. Because I think the main challenge, or the problem that I've seen many companies come across when they try to do that themselves, is that the list of unknown unknowns is way too big for them. Right? They go in with the assumption it's transport as transport. How difficult could it be? Let's just buy an electric vehicle, operate it, and you know that should be it, right? But then you quite quickly come across, you know, just how to plan how to design the charging, how to plan it, how to operate it, and also looking at, you know, step one transition into electric. The vehicles are more expensive, but they're usually cheaper to operate, right? So high utilization would be the key to get that TCO calculation down, etc. And as you try to make this more and more, then you realize the complexities in it, right? And you realize you need software, you need to have the right charging with the right design at the right places, and all those things. So my completely unbiased opinion would be work with a transformation partner like Enride, step one. But also looking at the big picture, because digitalization is phase one, and I would say the transport, or especially the road freight sector, has fallen behind on that. And step 2 of that would be to start to phase in autonomous. And anyone who has worked with, trying to automate things know that step 1 is that you need to have all the data in one system. You need to have reliable data, no movement without system, all those things, right? So I think you need to work with a company that can support you through that journey. And then also to pace it, right? You can't do everything at once. So you have to have some respect for the people in the organizations and their learning curves, etc. And let's start semi-small scale up and up once you get the wheels rolling. So step by step and together with Enride, that's the answer.
Okay, so the data, this is really crucial, the management of data. Daria, I would like to ask you about also data. Let's continue the topic because it's crucial to manage the data. Everything, in my opinion, solutions should be based on the data we have or we can possess. What is your opinion about the data itself? Should it be centralized, or how to manage the data? Because, there are different solutions and concepts about where the data should be placed, especially when we are talking about the companies scattered, in Europe, in the world. So what is your opinion about the data?
So crucial to make a proper decision is data centralization. Centralized, data centralized. Why? You may ask why? Because when you centralize data, you can make more informed decision, not only you, but your team as well. You can adapt faster, you can make faster decision, adapt faster to the changes, so you can stay ahead your competitors, or you can predict based on centralized data before disaster happens. So yes, so my answer is that centralized data are critical for every organizations, especially for the big international growing organization to make well and proper decisions.
Yes, this is really important, and I would even link it with synergy that Janusz mentioned, because this really helps, for example, in procurement and purchasing of transport solutions to the whole group scattered all around the world. Is really important to find the synergy, because different factories or units, they need different things. And what about? We are talking about our ideas. How, Fredrik, you can think of maybe ideas how logistic partnerships can reduce uncertainty, for example, in real estate planning?
That's a really good question. And I don't really have the good answer for it. But what I can say is, if we look at it from a different perspective, is the lack of availability of accommodations that we see that our customers are facing. For example, we have 500 apartments in Gävle, which is 1.5 hours from Stockholm, that we help Microsoft with. And it will be a big lack of accommodations, and it already is, which means that it's 5,000 people from Ireland living there that have come to Sweden, which means it's a huge change in the city. And they will have transportation, they will need cars, they will need accommodation, and they will be able to bring their family. So that's a really, really hard thing when it comes to the working sites, to have all the logistically parts working together with the workers and the blue collars and the managers. So that's from another perspective. I think that maybe reflects on it a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Marcin, we are also talking about, Daria mentioned people and talent, and I'm organizing, even maybe I will, if you want, I can invite you also to the conference in spring, because we are talking nowadays about logistics and people. Because what we have noticed that nobody wants to study logistics, not so many people, and we have really challenges about this. And do you think that is talent shortage the biggest threat to logistics innovation today? Because I don't think you need logisticians themselves, but some more IT-oriented people. But anyhow, do you feel that talent shortage is a threat?
Yes, I think so. we see, all of us see that there is a pace of technological change, and transportation and logistic companies are evolving faster than ever, adopting AI, IoT, cloud-based systems to monitor assets, manage fleets, and to optimize operations. But with every new wave of technology comes new complexity, from cybersecurity challenges to integration of legacy systems and data across global networks. But many organizations don't have internal capacity to keep up with that level of transformation. So we have to think it over, how we can deal with this problem, as we see that there are many people missing on the market right now. For example, from our perspective, from our business perspective, we address this through providing specialized delivery teams who can support our clients in strategic projects. Using these teams, which are already experienced and ready to execute, our clients can continue the digital initiatives on track while minimizing financial exposure and especially close skills gaps quickly.
Yes, people are really important. I would like to come back to the data and ask Janusz about something, because, you know, it's really fascinating for me, I hope also for you and online viewers, that, you know, supply chain in general is so fascinating with so many topics, which we really touch upon, but I think that this is really crucial. About the data, Janusz, can traceability and data can help reduce food waste at scale?
Yeah, that's a very good question and hard to answer, because it's something what Björn at the beginning mentioned, that we need to keep the promises and
you can elaborate.
Yeah, so when one of the projects which we are working is the sensor for the supply chain monitoring. We want to analyze the parameters of transport of perishable food, and based on data, connect them with AI to reduce food waste. I'm not sure if you know, but the problem of the food waste, it's 62 million of tons annually. Every one of you probably annually waste 132 kilo of food, and the half is in our households. So it's a portion of data which we need to digest by our processors here, how to manage food, how to do it smart in our home, how to maybe not buy too much, but it's enough what we need. The other story, so the another half of waste is in the logistic transport food processing. And there is a space where we want to convince food industry in general to be transparent, to get data and to know where the problem is. So the biggest challenge is to let people, in especially food industry, think out of the box and accept that something could be wrong, and I need to measure that. If it is wrong, I can solve it, I can do it better. So that's the biggest change, that we need to convince them for potential benefit. And if we are talking about data which we collect today, probably the benefit of them will be in next days. So that's the challenge, and I hope we all will be there.
As a startup, I don't know if I can call you still startup, what kind of support do you need? Because, you know, for me, this is really fascinating, because there are so many interesting innovations on the market. And I know that we should change the mind of people, yes, for sure. But how can we contribute to such fantastic startup with such fantastic, life-changing ideas? How can we support you?
Oh, thank you for these warm words. I am really, let's say, happy that I heard from Marcin and Procter & Gamble case study that big players really join the move. They want a change. So I believe that we need that adapting those change by big players, and then smaller companies will join the change. So this allows startup and more startups in this domain to pilot the technology, because each innovative technology needs to be tested in a real life scenario. And it's a challenge when we have something in the lab, in our software, is the hardware. It is value when we can test it in real application and get data, do it, let's say, real product, not engineering product. So it's a challenge.
Yeah. I think, you know, the whole meeting today is a little bit different from the previous one. I think Björn from Ystad started it with, I would say, a human touch. I don't know how to explain that, but I feel that we are also living in a different world nowadays. And this is not only about the data, the people, the money, in fact, the budget, but also about the mindset and the attitude. And to sum up and close the meeting today, which I think is interesting, and we will continue talks afterwards, I would like to ask each of you just to say, like, maybe 1-2 sentences. What is your message to people from logistics, supply chain, people present here, and also people online who are watching us and will watch, because this will be available on YouTube. So, what is your message? Maybe let's start from Janusz.
I will paraphrase the professor guest topic about sharks. So, keep move or die. I believe make change or die. So it's something what we need to adapt as all of us in every domain.
From my perspective and from our business perspective is to link the business with corporate responsibility nowadays. I think this is very important. For example, we are during the B Corp certification right now. So I think that more and more companies are looking in a good way to link business with doing something good for community.
Fredrik?
I would say from the accommodation point of view is that prepare early. Like if you have a big project somewhere in Europe or in the world, look for accommodations early because that will save you money, and you can find the correct and right accommodation if you prepare early. Sometimes companies come the last week and then it's hard to find something if it's a small town or an area where accommodation is hard to find. Yeah, I would say that.
Daria?
So I would say what Nelson Mandela was saying.
Huge.
It always seems impossible until it's done. So
wow.
If anybody in your environment say to you that it's impossible, believe me, it's possible. I can guarantee, I was hearing it many times, and I was always proving it's possible.
Bravo.
Be the change.
Be the change. Carl.
How do I follow that one?
Yes.
No, but I would say, and that is historical fact, change is inevitable, right? We can always discuss timing, but change is inevitable. So I say start preparing now and work with those who knows how to do it.
Victor.
I'll take it from an architect and urban planner perspective, what is actually kind of a hot topic at the moment, because as we talk about sustainability, architecture, urban planning, those dimensions of economic factor, environment is kind of obvious. We talked long about those things, but I think something new since few years that we really try to strive for is a social sustainability, and some things that also already been mentioned here. So having a human in focus, because this perspective can actually bring solutions that will be also beneficial for economics and environment, and having people in focus always. Thank you.
David?
Very good things have been said. I think AI, climate change, which will be then in the range of 1.5 to 5 degrees until 2050, will, with uncertain consequences as well as new geopolitical geopolitical landscape are all very large triggers for change. So I think it's time to be bold, but with a very robust midterm financing so you can handle cash flow issues.
Thank you all for the fantastic discussion, and I would like also to comment with my sentence. Let me thank you first of all, everybody being here, but I would use a four-letter word, which is talk. For me, recently, I have realized that, without talking, it's difficult to find any solutions. So once again, thank you very much for being here. And let's talk, let's discuss, let's share, let's co-create, and see you next year. And now, Jacek.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before we start to talk, let's just listen for 2 more minutes, okay? I would like you to spend 2 more minutes. First of all, thank you very much to all the people that got involved in making this happen. So thanks to Hans Jakob Bonier for the opening remarks today. Thanks to Jiri Rawowski for yet another event organized so well. Congratulations and thank you. Of course, big thanks to Małgorzata Musińska-Kubis for moderating. You did it so well. And to all the speakers and the panelists, I know that it's not that easy to, take the mic and speak in front of the audience, even so welcoming and so nice. So you did a great job. Thank you very much. Big thanks to Mats Vara, as always, for the technical support. And Dana Rogoza for the cakes and great desserts. Thank you very much. I would like to also thank to Jesper Reguła, who helped us, there you are, who helped us sending out the marketing information about the event and, so that you all know about this event. So thank you very much also for your help and support. I would like to mention one thing, because it was very, very interesting what we learned today, and I focused on a couple of things that we heard today. I will definitely look much more deeper into why the Polish companies are not yet so much involved in the infrastructure projects, because over the last 20 years we were doing mainly that in Poland. We were trying to rebuild the country, and we did that. And now, well, I think there are a couple of companies that have the experience already and could actually, be of use also here in Sweden. So I will get also deeper into that, and hopefully we can discuss that later on during the networking session. Yeah, looking forward to it. I wanted to make one comment about the company called Jetson One. We saw the drone, the ones that you can actually get into. So I don't want it to be the Skype case where Sweden, Estonia, Denmark, they fight over who is the owner of the brand. But it turns out actually that Jetson is a Swedish company, but there's a Polish engineer that started it. And they, I think, both decided that they will produce it in Italy. Yeah. But I just wanted to mention that, not in order to fight over the brand, but to show that this is probably a very good example and very good case. I will use it very often to show that when we put, in one pot and blend a little bit, this Polish mind, this with the Swedish mind, and usually we usually get something good, and we have already examples of that, like Sebastian Siemiatkowski. This is a Polish brain in Sweden doing something good, or Lech Kaniuk, who has been one of our panelists a couple of times, and hopefully he will join us again. All right, anyway, so this was the time for the presentations and for the discussions. Now it's the time for all of you to mingle, to build new relationships, maybe start new businesses, and to enjoy each other for the next, hour or two. Thank you very much for today.